Have you ever wondered why some fantasy worlds like Middle-earth feel so real that you could see yourself living in them? This is not by accident, it's by design. Today, I want to give an overview of my 7 pillars of world building that even seasoned authors overlook at times. But before we get to that, we need to answer one question first, and that is why world building is so crucial in the first place. Some people see it as nothing but the creation of a setting, but I'd argue that the world you are shaping is more than just that. It's like a living, breathing character in your story. Take Dune, for instance. Frank Herbert didn't just say, hey, it's a desert planet. No, he went deep, and he showed us how the scarcity of water influenced everything, from culture to politics, and even the economy. That's the level of detail that turns a good story into an unforgettable experience, and it does so on the back of great world building. So, let's talk about my 7 pillars. These are geography, races, fauna and flora, culture, history, magic and technology, and characters. The order is chosen quite deliberately here. Think of it like painting a picture. You start with the canvas, add the main elements, and then fill in the details. It's a logical progression that helps you build a world that feels real and immersive. Let's start with pillar number 1, geography. Geography is not just about saying, here's a mountain, there's a river. No, it's about how these features shape your world. Take Tolkien's Middle-earth. The Shire isn't just some random countryside, it's a reflection of the hobbits, peaceful, unassuming, and a bit detached from the world's troubles. Then we have climate zones. In Game of Thrones, for example, the icy climate of the North doesn't just make for cool visuals, it shapes its people, making them hardy and resilient. Natural barriers like mountains and rivers are another set of geographical features that aren't just there for show. Their location has meaning and impact. Think of Helm's Deep in The Lord of the Rings. That fortress is almost impregnable because of its geographical location. And don't forget about resources either. In Avatar, the fight over Unobtainium isn't just a plot point, it's central to the entire conflict between humans and the Na'vi. Of course, not all places are of equal importance. Not every mountain needs to harbor a legendary fortress, and not every river has to be the cornerstone of a major civilization. But it is vital to carefully consider the geographical landscape of your world in advance and honor it as a foundational piece of world building that impacts a lot of things to come. Once you've got your landscape, who's going to populate it? Different races can bring a lot of flavor to your world. Take the elves in The Lord of the Rings. They're not just humans with pointy ears. They're a race steeped in wisdom and ancient lore. Their longevity allows them a different perspective on time, making them patient strategists and historians. They're also deeply connected to the natural world, and their agility and keen senses make them formidable in combat. But it's not just about physical traits. Psychological traits are equally important. Take the Klingons in Star Trek. They're not warriors just for the sake of being warriors. It's more fundamental than that. They have an innate sense of honor and a natural inclination toward combativeness. This psychological makeup isn't just a cultural or historical artifact, it's a core part of what makes them Klingon. We also need to consider the relationship between races. In the Mass Effect series, the initial tension between humans and Turians stems from a conflict called the First Contact War. Over time, this tension transforms into a nuanced alliance, exemplified by characters like Garrus Vakarian, who bridge the cultural gap. This evolving relationship not only adds depth to each race, but also enriches the overall world building, making the universe feel more complex and realistic. So when designing your races, think about what makes each of them unique and how they interact with each other. Okay, so we've got our world and its inhabitants, but what about the other living beings? Animals and plants can be so much more than just set dressing. In Final Fantasy, chocobos are not just colorful, oversized birds, they serve as a mode of transportation, helping characters traverse vast landscapes. They're also companions in battle, and their unique abilities can turn the tide in a fight. They're so integral to the world that they've become a symbol of the franchise itself. And what about plants? Take the mandrakes in Harry Potter. These aren't just plants with a human-like root. They have a cry that can knock a person unconscious or even kill. They play a crucial role in the story, being used to cure students who have been petrified. And their properties aren't just a one-off plot device. They're a part of the magical curriculum at Hogwarts, showing how the magical and natural worlds are intertwined. The same can be true for entire ecosystems. In Avatar, the Na'vi don't just live alongside the flora and fauna of Pandora, they have a symbiotic relationship with their environment. Through their unique biological connection to the Tree of Souls, they can communicate with the planet itself. This relationship is central to the story's conflict. It's what makes their land so valuable and worth fighting for. Sometimes animals and plants can even symbolize themes or foreshadow events. In Game of Thrones, the dire wolves aren't just the Stark children's pets, they're deeply symbolic. Each direwolf's fate closely mirrors that of their respective Stark child, from their personalities to their ultimate destinies. When a direwolf dies or disappears, it often foreshadows or reflects significant changes in the Stark children's lives. Now that we've got our world, its inhabitants, and flora and fauna around them, it's time to ask us what makes those inhabitants tick. This is where culture comes into play. It's like the software that runs on the hardware of your world. In Dune, the feudal system isn't just a backdrop, it's central to the political intrigue. The power dynamics between the noble houses and their vassals are intricately tied to the feudal structure, affecting alliances, betrayals, and even the story's central conflict over the spice melange. When it comes to language, Tolkien clearly went above and beyond. He didn't just create languages for The Lord of the Rings. He created entire linguistic histories, complete with alphabets and grammar rules. This level of detail makes Middle-earth feel like a place with its own history and academic disciplines, making it feel truly lived in. And let's not overlook the arts. In Star Wars, the music of John Williams isn't just background noise. It adds an emotional layer that enriches the narrative. The iconic themes associated with characters like Darth Vader or Luke Skywalker aren't just catchy tunes. They evoke specific emotions and themes that resonate throughout the saga. Religion and philosophy can also be more than just window dressing. In Game of Thrones, we have the Faith of the Seven and the Lord of Light, for example. These religions are deeply woven into the political and social fabric of Westeros, affecting characters' decisions and the unfolding of key events like Melisandre's influence on Stannis Baratheon. You might want to give some attention to the little things like cuisine and clothing as well. Taking Game of Thrones as an example again here, the lavish feasts and intricate costumes everywhere aren't just for show. They tell you a lot about the wealth and culture of each house. The opulence of the Lannisters is evident in their attire, while the rugged, fur-lined clothing of the Starks speaks to their northern heritage. Traditions and rituals also play a crucial role when it comes to the cultural makeup of your world. They can even serve as excellent backdrops for key moments in your story, like festivals or coming-of-age ceremonies. In Black Panther, for example, the Warrior Falls Challenge is not just a fight, it's a deeply rooted cultural ritual that determines the leader of Wakanda, adding layers of meaning to the action. So we've got this rich, vibrant world, but how did it get that way? That's where history comes in. Take Tolkien's Middle-earth again as an example. Tolkien didn't just write The Lord of the Rings, he created an entire historical framework in the Silmarillion. This work outlines the creation myths, the early histories, and the epic struggles that set the stage for Frodo's journey. It's not just about recounting past events, it's about showing how those events have a lasting impact that shaped geography, cultures, and even the conflicts in the current narrative. But history isn't just about grand events, it's also about the individuals who shape it. In the Harry Potter series, figures like Godric Gryffindor and Helga Hufflepuff are more than just the founders of Hogwarts houses. As the series progresses, we learn about their values, their relics, and their historical significance, which adds layers of depth to the story itself. These historical figures aren't just names, they're legends whose legacies continue to influence the present day. And let's not forget about the secret histories, those hidden societies, lost technologies, or forbidden magics that can serve as plot twists or mysteries to be unraveled. These elements can add a sense of wonder and unpredictability, making your world feel even more complex and engaging. Now let's talk about magic and technology, the dynamic forces that make your world unique. In the Witcher series, the use of magic comes with physical and sometimes moral costs. Sorceresses often undergo painful and dangerous rituals to harness their powers, and the use of dark or forbidden magics can have catastrophic consequences. This adds a layer of complexity, making both the characters and the audience think twice about the ethical and physical costs of using magic. But what about the societal impact of these forces? In Star Trek, the replicator isn't just a cool gadget, it's a game changer for civilization. By eliminating the need for a monetary economy, it shifts the focus of society towards exploration and self-improvement, challenging us to think about what a post-scarcity world could look like. And let's delve into magical artifacts. In Harry Potter, Horcruxes aren't just powerful objects, they're deeply tied to the lore of the world. They're pieces of a soul, making them not only dangerous, but also morally complex. Their existence and the quest to destroy them serve as crucial plot points that drive the narrative forward. Lastly, don't underestimate the ethical dilemmas that come with these powers. Whether it's the use of dark magic in Harry Potter or the ethical implications of cloning in Jurassic Park, where the line between scientific advancement and ethical responsibility is blurred, these dilemmas add layers of moral complexity to your story. They force characters, and by extension the audience, to grapple with tough questions about right and wrong. Finally, let's talk about the seventh pillar of world building: characters. Characters are the lens through which your audience experiences your world. Take Frodo and Sam in The Lord of the Rings. They're not just random hobbits, they're the embodiment of courage and friendship. Their journey to Mordor serves as a personal odyssey that tests their limits and shapes their characters. Through their eyes, we see the weight of the ring, the terror of the Nazgul, and the beauty of Rivendell. They make Middle-earth more than just a map, they make it a story worth caring about. Or consider Katniss Everdeen in The Hunger Games. She's not just a skilled archer, she's a symbol of resistance against a tyrannical regime. Her decisions, from volunteering for the games to becoming the Mockingjay, don't just advance the plot. They challenge the status quo and inspire others. Through her, we explore the complexities of rebellion, the cost of freedom, and the moral ambiguities of war. And then there's Tyrion Lannister in Game of Thrones. He's not just a clever, witty character, he's a lens through which we explore themes of power, prejudice, and family dynamics. His journey from the despised son of Tywin Lannister to the Hand of the Queen is a complex arc that reveals the nuances of his world, from the political intrigues of King's Landing to the mystical threats beyond the Wall. And in The Matrix, Neo serves as our entry point into a world that questions the very nature of reality. He's not just a hacker turned savior, he's a character grappling with existential questions that the audience also has to confront. His transformation from Thomas Anderson to Neo makes us question our own understanding of freedom, choice, and destiny. Remember, your characters are the emotional gateway to your world, so make them as compelling, complex, and richly developed as the world they inhabit. And there you have it, my 7 pillars of world building. Each pillar is crucial in its own right, but it's the way they interact and intersect that makes a world truly unforgettable. So as you embark on your own world building journey, keep these pillars in mind. They'll help you create a world that's not just detailed and immersive, but also emotionally resonant and thematically rich. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more content like this.